Hey there, and welcome to The Explainer. Let's just jump right into this, because right now, the entire world is literally holding its breath, watching one specific event with intense scrutiny. We're talking about the monumental meeting between Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping. And look, this isn't just your standard political handshake and a quick photo op. No way. The stakes here are absolutely immense. We've got two leaders representing the ultimate global superpowers, and the dynamic of their relationship, well, it essentially has the power to shape the future of our global economy, the tech we rely on every single day, and, honestly, fundamental world peace itself. To really wrap our heads around the gravity of this, we just need to look at the stark contrast between these two nations. On one side, you have the United States, which, as we know, remains the world's strongest financial and military power. Then, on the other side, we have China, undeniably the world's manufacturing powerhouse. When these two massive engines of the global system clash, those shockwaves don't just stay neatly contained in Washington or Beijing. The entire world economy shakes. It's a relationship that every single nation, and frankly, every single one of us as consumers, is pretty much forced to pay attention to. So, to unpack exactly how this clash affects all of us, here's our roadmap for today. We'll kick things off with Section 1, the Superpower Summit. Then we'll move right into Section 2, the Tech Cold War. After that, we'll examine Section 3, the Taiwan Flashpoint, followed by Section 4, Caught in the Middle. And finally, we'll wrap up with Section 5, the Global Ripple Effect. We're going to track those shockwaves from the geopolitical epicenter all the way down to your personal wallet.
All right, Section 1, the Superpower Summit. 2 leaders, 1 global economy.
You know, this relationship has actually been fracturing under years of intense, compounding pressure, creating what analysts are now calling a new Cold War. And we are talking about dusty history books here. We are talking about today's headlines. This modern tension is characterized by aggressive trade wars, strict technology bans, severe economic sanctions, and just constant cybersecurity accusations. Add in the military tensions in the South China Sea, and you can really see how all of these compounding issues have pushed the globe closer and closer to a new era of profound instability. And that instability, it matters directly to you. Think about it. Everyday items are heavily dependent on Chinese supply chains, or they're manufactured directly right there in China. We're talking about the phones in our pockets, our everyday electronics, life-saving medical equipment, EV batteries, computer chips, the whole shebang. If tensions ease up between Washington and Beijing at this summit, these massive global supply chains could finally stabilize. And the absolutely crucial point here is that a stabilized supply chain could eventually reduce costs for businesses and consumers worldwide. It's directly tied to that inflation we've all been feeling at the store. Okay, let's move on to Section 2, the Tech Cold War, the race for dominance. So we've talked about traditional manufacturing, right? But the biggest battleground right now isn't actually about traditional weapons or trade goods at all. It's all about the future of technology. The US has been actively trying to slow China's tech growth across some absolutely critical arenas: artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, advanced surveillance systems, next-gen military tech, and our global digital infrastructure. Like, for example, the US has placed restrictions on companies like NVIDIA to limit their ability to export advanced AI chips to China. The whole goal is to maintain that technological edge, because whoever wins this race doesn't just get bragging rights, they essentially control the future of the digital world. But listen, China is definitely not sitting idly by. They are pouring literally billions into achieving total independence from Western technology. That staggering amount of money really proves that this is no longer just a friendly economic competition. No, it's an absolute race for complete technological dominance. Which brings us to Section 3, the Taiwan Flashpoint, the center of the storm. Right behind the trade disputes and the tech bans, there's one issue that analysts consider the single most dangerous element looming over this entire summit. So why is Taiwan the ultimate flashpoint? Why does the specific island create such massive, undeniable tension between these two global giants? To really get this, we need to impartially look at the conflicting stances of the two superpowers. On one hand, China firmly views Taiwan as part of its own territory. But on the other hand, the United States takes the position of providing continuous political and military support to Taiwan. So you have these two diametrically opposed viewpoints, and they create a highly combustible geopolitical situation that many analysts believe could easily become the most dangerous flashpoint in the world. And if a conflict ever were to actually break out there, the consequences wouldn't just be political, they would be economically catastrophic on a global scale. Why? Because Taiwan produces the vast majority of the world's advanced semiconductors. Without those specific chips flowing out of Taiwan, modern cars, our smartphones, massive server farms, AI systems, and global military equipment
All of it would face massive immediate disruptions. It's almost like pulling the plug on the modern world. Next up, Section 4, Caught in the Middle, Europe's Dilemma. See, when two superpowers clash over tech, trade, and territories like Taiwan, the rest of the world inevitably gets caught right in the crossfire. Europe, in particular, finds itself in this sequential trap. Step 1, they depend heavily on American security alliances, specifically through NATO. But then there's Step 2. They also have this deep, entrenched reliance on Chinese manufacturing and trade, which of course leads us to Step 3. If tensions between the US and China escalate further, Europe could be forced into the agonizing position of having to choose sides, both politically and economically. It's a massive, massive balancing act. So, the really crucial point here is understanding exactly what's at risk for Europe if that balancing act fails. The vulnerabilities are vast. Energy markets could destabilize, inflation could skyrocket, crucial export pipelines could freeze up, and major sectors like the automotive industry, investment markets, and overall long-term economic growth could take massive hits. Countries with strong trade connections to China, specifically Germany and France, well, they're especially vulnerable to this kind of fallout. Moving on to our final section, Section 5, the global ripple effect, impacting your wallet. You know, it's super easy to look at a summit like this as just high-level politics happening in closed-off rooms. But understanding this is absolutely essential to your personal finances. Because when tensions rise between superpowers, global markets don't wait around. They react immediately. Oil prices can literally spike overnight. Stock markets become incredibly volatile as investors start to panic. Currencies fluctuate wildly. And all of that global panic, it trickles directly down to you, resulting in higher mortgage rates, more expensive fuel, and just a general rise in your day-to-day living costs. We're actually already seeing this ripple effect hurt millions right now, from food prices in the UK to housing costs in Canada to skyrocketing energy bills across Europe. Even if you live thousands of miles away from the halls of power in Washington or Beijing, the decisions made by these two leaders fundamentally and directly affect your daily life. Geopolitics isn't just some abstract concept anymore. It's a very real line item in your household budget. Which really leaves us with this final, profound question. One meeting, two global powers, and billions of people affected by what happens next. Are we witnessing the beginning of a new era of cooperation? Maybe a temporary pause? Or is a larger geopolitical conflict just inevitable at this point? Some experts believe the economic damage of a conflict would be way too deep for either side to risk, while others see this competition, militaristically, technologically, and politically, as simply unavoidable. So what do you think? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep your eyes on the global stage, folks, because understanding geopolitics today is no longer optional. It is absolutely essential.